We hope you enjoy this clip. Before you watch it, please hit that subscribe button. I want to get your perspective on something because you brought up your early Nets teams, which were fantastic, by the way. Great teams. Enjoyed watching them play.
Yeah.
We talk about all-time greats all the time. We have to do it on NBA Today. We have to do it on First Take. And one of the players that, to me, gets a little bit lost in the discourse is Shaq. And listen, some of this is because later on in his career, let's be honest, he was out of shape. He didn't finish as strong. And so there's some recency bias. But when we talk about the 3-year run between 2000 to 2002, I'm going to go through this real quick. And you guys were there in 2002, and I want to get your thoughts on game planning for Shaq at this point in his career. Shaq in 2000 versus the Pacers. He averaged 38 points, 16.7 rebounds, 2.7 blocks, and shot 61% from the field in the finals. In 01 against the 76ers, 33 points a game, 16 rebounds, almost 5 assists, 3.4 blocks, and 57% from the field. Then against you guys, 36, 12, 3.8 assists, 2.8 blocks, 60% from the field. What the fuck could you do with Shaquille O'Neal at that point in his career?
Now, this is the part. I've said the 4 best teams I ever played against. Lakers in that 01, the Kevin Durant led Warriors.
01, you lost to Duke.
Yeah. No, it was the 01-02 season, fucker. So my bad. See, this is the shit I'm talking about. This is shit I'm talking about. It's like, he's like, no, 01, you lost to Duke. It's like, no, it was 01-02 season. Started in 01, but okay. It was the Kevin Durant led Warriors. Then it was the San Antonio Spurs with Tim and Pop and eventually 5 Hall of Famers in that group. But with the Shaq shit, there was no fucking guarding him. And Draymond, you're my boy. And they talk, we bring his ass up and pick and roll. Dre, I love your defense. Like he is the way he has played defense has really changed the game. The ability, you were not going in 02. You were not fucking with Shaq, bro. They changed how you had to construct your roster. You had to have 2 or 3 bigs just for fucking fouls. Not like good bigs. We just need bigs there. We need big bodies. If you haven't seen Wilt Chamberlain play, which none of us have, right? Like, obviously not in person, but I'm saying none of us have seen Wilt Chamberlain play. He has been the most dominant player in the history of the game of basketball, period. Not LeBron, not Steph, not Magic, MJ. Like Shaq physically was the most dominant player we have ever seen, like maybe will ever see, because of his sheer size, athleticism, skill, footwork, hands, everything. There was no guarding him. Like, and let me be clear. They don't call fouls every single time you foul him. Like there's times where he's going up for a dunk and you just do a flyby and you hit his wrist and he's like, watch out, little fella, I'll break your wrist next time. And you're just sitting here like, if my hand was in between the rim and he was trying to dunk it, he would break my fucking wrist. That's not a lie. And there's no other player that I can think of in recent history that has that type of strength and power. He changed the fucking equipment. Backboards were getting broken. Like when people talk about Steph changing the game, true. I think there's lots of players that changed the game, including Shaquille O'Neal. They literally had to change the physical equipment because they had never seen someone with that level of strength before. That's changing the game, right? And it's like the equipment needed to be adjusted because of him. So like, I love it. If Shaq was today and that Laker team was today, like obviously they would change some things, but no, Shaq was the most dominant physically dominant person I've ever seen in my life.
Do you like the Giannis comparison at all?
No, not at all.
How come?
Giannis is the same type of dominance when you see like percentage around the rim because there was a size and a fucking mass to Shaq that was different. He was like Embiid, but he moved like Giannis. Like imagine that. Like he wasn't as skilled, but I'm saying like his size, and he is, I would even say 1x bigger than fucking Embiid. He's bigger than Embiid, and he was athletic like Giannis. Like that's a different. We've never seen a combo of that. But Giannis, like with the dunks and the stuff, yeah, you could see that. But you don't have to change your roster and have 3 bigs for Giannis.
It was a great point. I remember watching those teams with the Nets and like J. Kidd and the throw ahead passes to you and Kerry Kittles. And at the time, I'm a college kid, but I had grown up watching the NBA.
Were you a fan
of the Nets?
Of me?
Not particularly. Not particularly. You know what it was?
You didn't emulate your game.
Can I tell you what it was?
Tell me.
And we can get into this,
please.
Because I've always wanted to ask.
Here we go.
I've always wanted to publicly ask a Nets player this. My first time at MSG was my senior year of high school. We played the McDonald's game there, and then my freshman year, we played in MSG. Sophomore year MSG, junior year MSG, and then senior year we played Texas in the Meadowlands. Mm-hmm. And while we won, and I had a 40 ball.
Humble.
The only thing I could think to myself would be like, what a shitty place to play professional basketball.
It was god awful. It was.
So that's why I wasn't a fan.
That's fair. That's why they had to move. Like, we were going to NBA finals and they weren't sold out, right? Like, and we're playing against the Lakers too. It's like we could, like, even the Lakers weren't drawing enough for us to sell out. It was a massive arena. It just wasn't. It just
didn't have a great soul.
It didn't have a very good soul. But the people and the fans were fucking amazing, and I feel lucky to be a part of that group, because the Nets, very similar to when you got to the Clippers, right? You guys started the Clipper franchise. And I say that respectfully to all the guys that were there before. I'm not saying, but like, you brought it to like a national focus, prominence,
level of relevance.
Yeah. And the Nets had never won a playoff series before we got there. Like, that was still like, they had never won a playoff series. And since they came when Dr. J,
right,
went to Philly, and they hadn't had really any success. Maybe one playoff series. Don't quote me on that. But it was like what we were doing every year, going to finals, doing this. And every day they would come to us like, hey, the Nets have never done this before. The Nets had never done this before. And now there's a generation of kids and adults that really only remember the Nets from a level of prominence. And that could be the KG Paul Pierce year. That could be, the KD Kyrie's time. Like, they remember the Nets at least being in a level of prominence. And that part I feel very special to be a part of.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Anyways, what I was going to say about the team. I wasn't going to say about the team, but as I remember thinking, you guys played fast. That's what I thought. You guys played fast. I looked up the numbers today. So
our pace was going to be really slow.
So you were in 2002 when you made the finals against the Lakers. You were 8th in the league in pace at 93.2.
Beautiful
possessions per 100. Kings were number 1 that year at 96.7. 03, 11th in pace, a little bit higher actually. Kings number was the same. 04, 17th in pace. That's when you lost to the Pistons. You actually went down that year. And just for some context here, 04, 05, the 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns, they were number 1 in pace both those years at 97 and 96. This year, number 30 in pace is the Cleveland Cavaliers at 96.1. And you played in an era of slow basketball, a lot of post feed, a lot of ISO, and you also played in the era that I played in towards the end of my career, which is spacing, movement, quicker pace, quicker body movement, all that stuff. At the time, what did it feel like? Now looking back, what do you remember it as in terms of the basketball up and down?
I felt like we were like a college team. Like, because when I was at Arizona, it was, Gilbert, me, Jason Gardner. We were a fat, for college. Like, let's say you never saw the shot clock go off when Arizona played basketball. Like, that was not what we did. So, I go to the Nets and I get my dream point guard. I was a Magic Johnson fan. I was a Jason Kidd fan. I had Jason Gardner and Jason Terry as my point guards. Like, I loved point guards because that's what I wasn't a dribbler. I wasn't a one-on-one guy. I wanted to run. I wanted to cut. Like, that was the part of the game I liked. And so, like, now that when I go back and watch the Nets pace, it was fun, man, because it was like we were out running and dunking. When I first came into the league, I was not a very good shooter. Jason Kidd was turned into a better shooter and three-point threat, but wasn't in the beginning. Kenyon Martin could not shoot. Jason Collins, God, he could not fucking do anything, right? And yeah, I said that, Jason. Just, someone's going to text you and be like, oh, Richard was talking shit. Yes, I was. Who cares? And so we had 4 guys that couldn't shoot great, and then Kerry was our one, like, kind of shooter. He was our JJ Redick, if you will, but he played defense. So yeah, we had to run because that was our only way of scoring. If you got us in the half court, it was like Princeton offense. That was kind of the thing that we ran for cuts. But I'll say this. Jason Kidd might have been the fastest point guard in the league. He was the fastest point guard in the league. Kenyon at the power forward was as fast and as athletic. I'd like to believe myself as like one of the 3 or 4 fastest guys in the small forward position. And Kerry was 1 or 2 fast as far as like I would turn around and Kerry would be 2 steps in front of me. So we had a unit that was so fast, and that was our only way to play and be successful. So we played defense to get out on the break. Like we played mean fucking defense so that we could get out and run, and that's what our success was based on.
You think there was a piece you were missing that would have allowed you to win one of those championships?
If we had Shaq, that would probably would have helped.
We hope you had fun with us today. We hope you laughed. We hope you had fun with us today. If you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button.